Good afternoon, we're here at Tom's Tourney. Got another game in the women's division for you. We've got Iceni versus Czech women. How do you think this is going to shape up, Rachel?
I'm excited to find out, to be honest. We don't know too much about the Czech team. They sort of admit that they're quite a new team, and they're here to really learn about each other, find where their strengths and where their weaknesses are. And so I think that it's a process of learning for them, and for us, we're really excited to see what they can bring. Both teams that we're seeing here have won both their games in their pool, so this should be a great showdown.
No, I agree. And Iceni on the first offensive point. Thompson with the disc. The Czech playing a zone, but Iceni moving through it quite comfortably now. Disc on the far side of the pitch. Back to Pope, handling in the middle. Looking for options. They're not really rushed here. They're taking the time, taking the right option. Barnes with the disc on the near sideline. Again, working through route one, through the middle. Disc goes up the top, wins a bit up, but they take it nicely.
Yeah, very calm first point from Iceni there. I think just getting the lay of the land, seeing what the zone's looking like. Very comfortable to move it around the back, throw the handlers, and sort of find those forward passes as and when they come up, not rushing to force anything, very comfortable taking their time, and confidently moving that disc around the back. So that was a nice hold for Iceni on that first point.
No, I think they'd be really happy with that. They didn't look pressured at all. Both these teams come in off 2 wins in the group, both beginning of their season. The Czech group, relatively new playing each other. They don't have a humongous amount of chemistry, but this Iceni unit have been a force to be reckoned with for some time, haven't they?
Yeah, the Iceni team, as an institution, is one that's well known through Europe. They've been one of the premier women's teams for years and years and years. The team we're looking at, the players, there's been a lot of turnover in the last few years, so there's a lot of fresh faces on there. But yeah, when you play Iceni, you are an elite player and you've got a lot of skills and a lot of talent to bring to the team.
I'd agree. Czech now on their first offense, looking to play it around through their handlers, set a hoe stack. They're not moving particularly quickly. Lukowska now with the disc, but no options coming for her. And we get the D. Didn't really look to activate her resets there. Unfortunately, nothing happening for her upfield through the turn.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate there. I think the Czech team just looking a little bit tentative with the disc, not necessarily as sort of confident and decisive as we saw from the Iceni side, but it's early in the game and we'll see how they fare as we go on.
Kwan now with the disc, looking to swing, big yard gaining swing. Hills now moving the disc forward. Kwok with the disc, looks to shoot into the end zone. kind of over pitches it. I think there was space there for it, but maybe rushed the throw.
Yeah, I think that was a bit challenging. There seemed to be quite a few people sort of moving around in the space between where the cutter was moving, which I think was Phi Quan, and the thrower. So I wonder if maybe Quan was less able to see that disc coming, and sort of there was a defensive player moving into that space and putting pressure on.
Yeah, we're now Czech on offense. Lukowska with the disc. Sees some space in the middle of the pitch. Makes the yards. Korovna well, moving it well. Still not really getting the upfield cuts that they may like to see, but working quite well now as the handlers. Vorovka with the disc. Lukowska again. Oh, another great inside shot. Upfield, but no continuation cuts. We try the line. Oh, good bit of pressure from Iceni, but the disc comes down. I don't have 42's name of fade, but that was a good catch under a lot of pressure. Mosto with the disc, looking to distribute to the other handlers. Sarovna now, moving again forward. Oh, we see the space. Disc goes forward. Fantastic shot. Opened up. Not a huge amount of defensive pressure on that.
Yeah, Kosova did a great job there, just to see where the space was coming, to anticipate the swing of the disc, and just make sure that she was timing her cut really well, just to move into that space right when it needed to be attacked. And of course the disc came, and they were rewarded with the point. So that was a really nice way to kind of close out that that offensive point for them.
Exactly, yeah.
Very decisive at the end there.
Yes, especially as a new outfit, I'd be really happy with that. That looked like they'd been playing together for a long time.
I think they were exhibiting that patience on the disc there as well. Iceni obviously putting them under a lot of pressure. I think we can see a little conversation between two of the players there, maybe about a little bit of the physicality that we were seeing. Iceni are known to be a very, very strong defensive pressure, and perhaps within the game they're just trying to figure out exactly what that should look like, and what both teams are kind of willing to accept in terms of physicality. And that's all part of the process, and part of the sort of establishing good spirit is finding that balance and making sure that you're sort of holding yourself accountable. So it's great to see players having that chat.
Yeah, it's a big part of high-level Ultimate, finding the comfortable level of physicality for both teams, because some teams really, really thrive on it, and some teams less so, and that's perfectly fine. There's no rule book for how it should be done.
Outside of the rules.
Outside of the rules, of course, yes. Pulls a bit short. Iceni have lots of yards to play with. Looking to centre the disc. Looks like we have a bit of a cup from the Czech team. Moving the disc through the handlers. Becky Thompson moving it forward. Back to Pope, back to Thompson. Can't seem to break through yet, so we're just happily moving around. Thompson, Pope, Thompson. Thompson working really, really well through this zone. Breaks it through now, looking to the end zone. Oh, and a brilliant toe-in. Oh no, called out. Thompson with the disc, back to Pope. Swinging around the front with very little pressure, trying to find the gap. Still using route one. Another jump in, not quite in. Knocking on the door now for some time. This is the sort of space you don't want to turn over. It's where you get tired and make a silly mistake. Almost over the top. Pope, Thompson. Back to Pope. Still trying to find that space. Czech cutting it out very, very well. Looking to go the full width now. Trying to expand it a little bit, spread out those defenders. Going through route one again. Pope gets the disc right on the line again. Can she find that space? No, looks to reset. Brew moves it again. Moved it back to this side. Brew with the disc. Looks at the overhead, has a think. Swings again. You'd want a little bit more continuation here. We're kind of going not very far.
Yeah, interesting that they're still in the holding this zone look defense.
Oh, beautiful.
Which I think you get around for the score.
Get around. Finally found that bit of space. That's incredibly well weighted.
Yeah, that was a really interesting point, I think, because in the early stages of that point, Iceni moving incredibly decisively through the zone defense. It didn't really look like sort of the cup and the force were able to contain and really even disrupting the movement that Iceni were looking to make there. But the Czech team stayed in that zone where most teams would break to person defense. The Czech team stayed in that zone all the way to the end zone. And that's actually where we saw the zone defense really starting to have effect. Like Iceni were having to move that around the back, trying to push through the middle, but not able to do so. And so, yeah, that was a really effective defensive measure in that red zone area. Iceni showing excellent patience despite several attempts to jump it in that unfortunately didn't quite cross the line. They moved it around the back, nice and calm, and then until they could find that open spot and a very safe hold then.
Yeah, forcing that many passes is going to generate turns against many, many teams. Just not quite a team of this caliber, perhaps. Or maybe, we may see. Big, big pull from Iceni, right towards the back of the end zone. Czech's moving it forward. Defense is now set. Looks like we have a slight sag on the handler. Czech still using their 3-4 hoe stack. Moving it forward, forward up the pitch a bit better. Big hut goes. Still over underneath it. Under a lot of pressure, takes it. Now trying to find the option. Resets back to Lukovska. She's got her easy swing. Musto with the disc now, looking to distribute. Czech's made lots of yards with that pass, and now a bit static. Find the easy pass. Oh, we've got a scoring option, and she takes it. That was some clean offense. Yeah,
that was a lovely, clean offensive point for the Czech team. Great cutting, I think, on that long throw that went up. The cutter went deep, sort of threw in a stutter step, which is what really gave her the separation with her defender, and then was quite free and clear for that pass, which actually ended up sitting a lot, so it ended up having to really be a contested catch, but put in the effort to make sure that was a really viable option for the thrower, and of course they didn't waste it.
Exactly, that's the big thing. Once you get good pitch position, you're in the red zone, you need to put the point in. So having a look from here, we can see the massive difference in the squad sizes between the Iceni squad and the Czech team. We were talking to the Czech team ahead of this game, and they've had a bit of an injury crisis. They've had to rope in one of their coaches to be a playing coach, which once you finally had the opportunity to retire, you might not relish.
Yeah, really challenging for this side. They've been incredibly unlucky and have told us that they've lost 5 players to injury in the past 2 weeks.
Which is that would kill most teams.
It's a massive hit, and I think that there, from what I understand, a few of the players that Iceni were sort of really thinking carefully about who they were going to match up about. The ones they sort of knew a little bit more about are perhaps not on the pitch this weekend. So I think there might have been some significant losses, but nevertheless, the Czech team coming out very strongly and demonstrating that there clearly is a lot of depth to their squad that with such a small number.
Oh, just out of the fingers.
That's an
unforced error. Unforced error from Iceni. Up until now, we've had a perfect game. Offense is going in both sides. What can Czech do with this? Kurovka with the disc, in a good position, looking to reset into the centre. Moving it quickly back onto the break side. Options coming now quite quickly for the Czech team. Right in front of the end zone now, beautiful position. Not called an end zone, we've got the break side option. Oh, they score with a break! That's big, coming from almost nowhere, an unforced error. Fantastic.
That's huge, and the Czech team will be so happy to capitalise on that. I think, unforced error, but that was also a throw that was trying to move forward in the face of these intimidating red and blue shirts, like steaming down the field towards them. So certainly the Czech team really showing that they're able to. They might be a smaller team than Iceni, but they're able to come out with just as much pressure and force and really put it to them. So that's our first break of the game, I believe.
Yeah, let's see how that colours the rest of the contest. One thing you always worry about with a small squad against a big squad is, are they going to have the legs to carry it through? Because this is going to be a physical matchup every single point of this game. Do you think they're going to have it in them?
I mean, so far the evidence says they will. They've got through 2 games. They've closed out 2 games. They've had compelling scorelines in both of those 2 games that sort of communicate that this team is able to make it through the match. These are shorter matches, so that's obviously going to play a little bit more in their favour in terms of resting their legs. But yeah, so far all evidence points to the Czech team having the stamina to be able to close out competitive games. And taking the first break just sort of further confirms that, I think.
Yeah. So now see if Iceni can put their next offense in. It's a big one for them. The pull fall's a little short. Not quite the same pulling caliber in the Czech team so far. Thompson with the disc in the middle of the pitch. Moving it quite fluidly through the handlers still. Brugge goes back to Thompson, back to Brugge. Nice lofty pass to the side of the pitch. Centred back to Thompson. Already on the brick mark. Pope with the disc and Thompson, those 2 handling very, very effectively for Iceni so far. Back to Brugge, moving the disc very fluidly. Looking for those options, seeing that zone again, seeing them sit in their zone, still in front of their end zone, forcing those passes. Especially since we've seen an unforced error so far, we'll see what happens. Oh, no, they walk it in. They walk it in instead. All handler movement there. I don't think a receiver got a touch of the disc.
Yeah, that was all the handlers walking it up all day, and love that sneaky, like sneak in the corner when they're not looking and just make sure your full toes are in the line.
Yeah,
and you're good to go.
I think the Czech team would be a bit disappointed with that. I think the rapid handler movement spread them out a little bit too much and just let that easy one in.
Yeah, Iceni did well there to sort of act decisively as they got to the end zone line and not let themselves fall into the trap that they found at this other end in the previous point, where the cup of the wall of the zone was really putting them under pressure. They spread themselves out a little bit more, like kept options open. Yeah, and it ultimately made that space so that Hannah Brugge could just sneak into the corner there and receive the score.
Yeah. Make it all look a little bit too easy.
Yeah, I mean, and the handler movement on Iceni is outstanding. They have very, very solid throwers. Becky Thompson, very able to move the disc quickly, very confident. It's like pass it off and then she's immediately gone and ready to receive it back. Kat Pope's the same, and Hannah Brugge obviously. She has a massive arsenal of throws, so those overhead fakes are to be taken very seriously.
Yeah, let's see if the Czech team can hold their offense. It's a big point for them. The pull sat them on their brick mark, but they've moved quite fluidly. Still set their horizontal stack, moving it through the handlers. Iceni looking to handle a sag in front of the disc, but match mark upfield. They get a little bit of movement going forward, the Czech team. Match has been called, but Iceni, oh, there's a Czech option deep. Can she reel it in? It's a little bit too far. Oh, that would have been a big one. Now the Iceni team have a chance to get their break back.
Yeah, that was a really unfortunate one. I think there just wasn't that communication between the cutter and the handler. I think it was a good option, and I think the throw looked like it was well delivered. But unfortunately, I think the cutter just realised a little bit too late that was actually what was going to go up, and wasn't able to get down there.
Exactly, and the wind has picked up a little bit, and it was trailing that throw, maybe pushing it a little bit further than the throw intended. So Iceni now with the chance. Moving the disc into the middle of the pitch quite comfortably. Kwok with the disc. Centres back. Oh, that was a little bit fortuitous. Oh, the disc pops up. Can they reel it in under a bit of pressure? Brugge with the disc. Pops it into the back corner of the end zone. Oh, ooh. We may have a little bit of a call here. Looks like one of the Czech players went down and may have interfered with the catch. Injury has been called. Players are discussing it now. What was your view?
Yeah, it looked like maybe the Czech player twisted an ankle or some sort of ankle issue that made her fall, which I think did then disrupt the Iceni player, but it's sort of up to them to figure a foul called. Uncontested, I think, is what the arm signals are telling us.
Yeah, that's it feels like the fair option there.
Yeah, I think there were definitely, was physical contact between them, obviously very much accidental, and so I think if they're happy with that, if they're happy to not contest that foul call, then I think that makes a lot of sense.
So now we have a chance to set a full set play. Let's see what Iceni do with this opportunity. This is exactly where you want a static start, right on the end zone line.
Because it's a foul call, the disc will come in at the front of the end zone, as per the rules.
Oh! Oh, that was big.
That was a decisive block. That was massive hand block.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's those sort of moments change games. That was almost a gimme for Iceni, and then Czech have a chance to hold their offense. We'll put them back on top of this game. Lots of pressure on the handler marks. A little bit in trouble. Oh, can't quite reel that in. Corona tries, gets fully horizontal, but tips it forward. Iceni now back with the disc. Centres quite comfortably. Upfield receivers working really well for Iceni so far. Dolman with the disc, centres back. Looking forward. Flight trying to find an option. Gets a very nice option in the middle from Dumoulin. Moving forward quite comfortably now, the Czech team not really stopping. Option into the end zone, double marked, still taken down. Is that Kwan with the score?
That is, yeah. A decisive snag from Fiona Kwan there, which is sort of her MO. She does that.
Yeah, double marked, didn't really seem to care, probably didn't notice they were there. Really, really decisive from Iceni. That's the issue when you play such a strong team like this. Half a chance and they'll run away from it. And it's a shame that they didn't put that the Czech team did not put their offense in, because that would have made it been a really important moment for them in this game. But now we're all level, back on the pull. 2 breaks each.
Yes.
One break each, sorry.
One break each, yeah. I think Iceni are sort of hitting their pace a little bit more now. I think perhaps the Czech team was sort of connecting and kind of finding those gaps a little bit more. I think Iceni are sort of clicking into place, and we're going to start to see a little bit more of that sort of fluid and confident movement of the discs on offense, and that really kind of repressive defense that they're really known for.
I'd agree. I imagine, and I'd expect to see us to see a lot of really, really tight match marking going forward. Looks to be where they'll really stamp their mark on this game. Both teams are ready, and the pull goes up. With the win, but another really strong pull from Iceni. Fielded in the middle of the pitch. Czech team looking to move forward. Iceni again playing tight mark upfield with a bit of a sag on the handlers. Really making it a bit tricky for them. Oh, that was a bit of an unfortunate one. Again, an unforced error right at the top of the fingers. You'd have expected them to take that 99 times out of 100. Iceni now knocking on the door. Can't really get the handler through. Oh, saved. Saved by McCarthy. That was an unfortunate pass, but saved it. Disc in front of the end zone now. And a score.
Great score there. Hamer, by virtue of being a lefty, can put that out nice and high over the top and just have that sort of fluid motion on the side that normally would be for right-handed people a flick that kind of takes a little moment to come out and perhaps is a little harder to get the right weighting on, but by virtue of being a lefty and having such a lovely kind of fluid throw is able to put that into the end zone perfectly for that open cut.
Yeah, it's almost unfair. So now Iceni back in their groove, sitting a little bit on top of this game. A scoreline of 5-3 to Iceni. 2 points on the trot. Czech team all walking to the line together, the coach marshalling the troops, trying to get some semblance back of order perhaps, make sure they get back onto their roll, because they started the game quite strong and they've had a bit of a stutter now.
Yeah, I think the mental resilience, which I know a lot of teams are talking about, in a world season facing up a week-long tournament against like the best teams in the world, teams are very aware of what it takes mentally to keep yourself in tough games and make sure that you go from, leave the mistakes of one game behind and go into the next game more strongly. And I think for the Czech team, this will be an exercise in really thinking about how to keep playing their own game when they're tired, and it's not going their way, and perhaps they've lost a little bit of their momentum.
And so Iceni pulling to the Czech team. Another really nice pull from Iceni. Floaty. Iceni's defense is almost set by the time it's caught by the handler. Again, playing the same defense from Iceni, looking to put a lot of pressure on their upfield receivers and making it tricky for their handlers to move too freely. They're trying, moving horizontally, not really gained any yards just yet. Musto with the disc in the middle, been one of the key handlers for the Czech team so far. There was a free open option on the line, but maybe the handler didn't quite feel they had it. Over the top, back to Musto. Match has been called by the Iceni team. Bit of confusion, big yard gainer from Musto, looking right to knock on the door now. Number 13 puts it into the back corner. It's going to be close. I think she reeled it in, but it was out. It's been called out. No dispute from the Czech player. That's unfortunate. That was a beautiful shot. Yeah,
that's really unfortunate. That was one of those moments where you just see it eking out, and you're like, are they going to be able to get there? But unfortunately, I would have to have been a very, very, very athletic play, sort of toes on the ground and full extension layout to have kept that in bounds.
Maybe a foot taller too.
Yeah, or potentially that. But yeah, now Iceni looking to get out of this corner.
Yeah, Kwan with the disc. Not a very nice place to be, but comfortably swings the disc into the middle of the pitch. Royland centres the disc centred again. Iceni not going anywhere very quickly, but comfortable to work through their handlers. The Czech team playing a match defence, making it a bit tricky. Oh, big lead pass from Kwan. Centres the disc, moving very fluidly now. Space has opened up quite happily for them. Royland. Back to Flight. Flight puts it into the end zone. Almost uncontested score. Very nice. Brilliant way to spot the space.
Yeah, a lovely point for Iceni there. I think Kat Roland was really an important player in that point. I think sort of disc went through her every other throw or every 2 throws or so, really finding that space in the middle and being kind of solidly able to get free as and when's needed, which is a very wonderful quality for a teammate to have.
Yeah, really, really good asset for someone on the team. Get free whenever they want, bail you out whenever you need. Fantastic asset.
Yeah.
And don't think she's the only one on that team either.
Yeah, they have a couple people like that, I'm sure. But in that point, I think particularly...
In that point, she definitely ran it.
Yeah.
So Iceni starting to stamp their dominance on this game now. That's 4 points on the trot. Let's see what the Czech team can do with their offense. Again, I think we've been seeing quite a consistent problem from the Czech offense. The handlers are doing a lot of the work. They're not really getting free upfield. The Iceni defense is really stifling them.
Yeah, and not to sort of hammer on about it, but that also probably is also due to the fact that they do have the shorter roster and fewer people. So it is really hard to keep cutting and to keep working hard enough to generate that space, particularly against a defensive pressure like the one that Iceni are bringing, when you have fewer people and you're feeling that little bit more tired. So really hoping that the Czech team are able to dig deep and kind of pull through that, but it is a bit of more of an uphill struggle for them.
No, exactly. It could be a really formative experience for this young group of players, or new group of players. Musto with the disc. Looks to centre, but the Iceni defence is down there set. Same defence we've been seeing most of the game from Iceni, looking to sag on the handlers, make it a bit tricky to move. We've got a count, so we're probably going to be switching to match pretty soon. Czech team not moving very far or very quickly. Musto looking to try and get the disc moving. Gets the disc in her hands, can't really see anything happening. A lot of the Czech players are very static. Oh, we find the space, but that pops out of the hands. And that's an unforced error as well from... Not quite got that name down, I'm afraid. Iceni look to score, almost looks sure thing, but we've got a drop in the end zone. Bit of an unfair, it is coming from the wind on that side, so it may have bubbled on her, but you'd expect her to reel that in every time. Yeah,
the breeze is picking up, which I think both teams are starting to feel a little bit and need to adjust.
Yeah, adjust accordingly. That was Thompson there with the drop. Now the Czech team have another opportunity. They go over the top. Thompson almost generates the turn on Musto, but doesn't quite make it. Tries to go big through the middle, but someone gets a hand on it. I didn't quite catch who, and it pops up.
Not sure, that might have been Brew or Hamer. I'm not sure who was positioned for that, but yeah, definitely got a piece of that one.
From quite a clean game at the start, we've become quite scrappy frisbee here. Lots of turnovers at this point already. Iceni now looking to try and settle things down and put the point in. Playing out of quite a conventional stack in the end zone, looking to really generate lots of yards from their big receivers. Good catch under a lot of pressure there. Someone poached off, made it a bit tricky. Thompson with the disc, looking forward. Finds a nice bit of space, nice and easy.
Yeah, that was sort of a textbook end zone movement, dump and swing.
And swing from the back,
in the corner. Hit the corner. Yeah, that was really nicely done by Iceni there, and I think that was a real demonstration of how to nail the fundamentals, which I know for this team is really kind of like the bedrock of their play. They want to make sure that they're doing the basics right, that they sort of know where each other are, that they're really getting that team cohesion. And yeah, I think that was really, really well demonstrated in that point.
Especially coming off the back of what was, for the first half, an incredibly scrappy point with some unforced errors, lots of turnovers, to generate that sort of calm playing frisbee indicates such a mature group of players. And you need that to succeed at the highest level. You need to be able to take a breath, calmly put it in, not forcing anything, and it was beautifully demonstrated by that group.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also, you know, their offense is looking great, and they've sort of demonstrated their abilities to stay calm and to move it through and to find the gaps and to cut hard and get free for your teammates. Also, just to speak a little bit about the defense that they've put up, I think it's really suffocating the Czech movement. It's, as we said before, it's really keeping the disc back with the handlers, and they're putting the pressure on them to find their way through. And I think an additional pressure from that comes with the fact that, as we could hear in that last point, they were playing for a certain number of passes. That's why we could hear the sort of the chant on the sideline, and at some point they were going to break to person. But there's a huge number of them on the sideline, and that's also a really kind of important factor when considering the motivation and the sort of the feel and the atmosphere for each team is who can you hear and sort of what sort of support are you feeling. And I think for the Iceni side, they're big and they're loud and they're cheering each other on and they're supporting each other. And again, unfortunately, just by virtue of being fewer people, that's a lot harder for the Czech team to keep their energy high and to support each other in the way that they probably would usually like to.
No, I agree. I've been in those situations before that the Czech team are in, and it feels like you're playing against the entire world. Everyone's on the sideline, everyone's chanting for the opposition. It's a tough place to get yourself up for the fight. If you're that Czech coach now, what would you be saying to them?
Dig deep.
Dig deep.
Dig deep. You guys, they know what they need to do, and they've clearly demonstrated that they have the skills. I think it's just going to come down to whether they are able to like find that level of grit, find that level of determination to keep pushing and to keep cutting hard, keep calm on the disc, and just sort of keep a level head and move forwards despite what I'm sure are very tired legs.
I agree, and also, always one of the most important things is enjoy the experience.
Then what they need to be doing this season to be really maximizing their opportunities and sort of working to offset any weaknesses that they perceive. So they'll definitely be learning a lot from this game, and we're just really hopeful that they're able to come out swinging in what I think is now the second half. I believe that was half. Is that correct?
So we're 7-3, but we're not playing any halves, so this game keeps running into the second half.
Right, well that makes sense then. But yeah, they sort of took a timeout there, or took a moment as a team. So coming out in this part of the game, we'll say, and able to demonstrate what they want to show.
Exactly, yeah. Stamp your mark on it. So a bricked pull from Iceni, I think the first we've seen. So the Czech team in a good position. Verona with the disc in the middle of the pitch. Still the same defense from Iceni. Still the same offense from the Czech team. Swings to the upside. Moves it back to the middle to Verona. Verona moves it back to 42. Verona again. Misto. Moving it quite freely between the handlers, but not really looking to engage the upfield. As I say that, we get a big yard gainer up the side. Huck goes from a power position. Can she reel it in? She does! That's the way to come out of a timeout. That's brilliant.
That was an excellent offensive show from the Czech team, and like really, demonstrates that they've had a nice little boost. They've had a chat. They're hopefully back on the same page, and they know what they want to do. And they're able to go and deliver it. I think they moved that really decisively, and that deep shot was beautiful.
Yeah, it was textbook. Move it around, open up the zone a little bit, get a yard gainer on in the sideline, power position, straight deep from a continuation cut. Beautiful, straight off the clipboard. The coach would be really, really happy with that.
Yeah, that'll be hopefully one of those moments where he can sort of go over there and be like, yeah, just like I said. Yeah. Well done, us.
So now they need to go on and generate themselves a turn. I wouldn't say they've been close to generating turns, but a lot of the turns have been gifted to them so far in the game. They need to go and grab one with their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've put a lot of pressure on Iceni. I think some of the mistakes that we've seen from that side that maybe sort of seem like unforced error, I do think that you have to kind of consider the fact that they are, the Czech team are there, and even if it's not, their hands that are D'ing the disc out the air, that their presence is a significant one. And I think they just need to turn that up to the next level, and really keep up that pressure and intensity.
So the Iceni team starting on the brick mark from a bit of a rolly pull. Thompson with the disc. Match defense from the Czech team. Hoe stack for Iceni. Moving it quite freely now in front. Pope with the disc. Back to Thompson. Ooh, Wind caught that one a little bit from Thompson. Forced it out. Good defense upfield from the Czech team. As you were saying, they're putting the pressure in, and they, to be fair, generate themselves a turn.
Yeah, excellent effort from Van Krikken there to try and keep that disc in and keep that disc alive, but unfortunately it was just that bit too far.
It's a big moment for the Czech team. They need to get this in. Goes straight for the deep option. One-on-one, it floats. Oh, but read better. And with a bit of fumble, we've got it. Looking towards the end zone now. Staroza with the disc. Good pickup from the Czech receiver there. Moving now backfield. Happy to swing the disc. That one's a little bit too far.
Yeah, that's
tired legs maybe.
That'll be disappointing for them. That was just a slightly overshot that swing pass. And after some really nice play to get down there.
Now Iceni with another shot. Still playing it out of their hoe stack. Works quite well. Go for the big option. Can we reel it in? It's a lot further. No, we can't quite. I think that, again, Wynn may have held that a little bit.
Yeah, I think the teams haven't quite adjusted to the fact that the discs are carrying that a little bit further. hopefully we see some adjustments to make sure that things are weighted that little bit more carefully.
I agree. In the tight games, those are the margins. You need to be able to adjust to the conditions really quickly. You can't afford 3 turnovers. The Czech team moving the disc up the line under a lot of pressure there, but still managed to reel it in. That one was a bit forced. Can't quite stick it in the one hand.
Yeah, Tarajova doing a great job to make that catch under pressure there, but unfortunately not then able to complete the next pass.
Straight deep from Iceni. Double coverage. Again, with another turnover.
Yeah, I think they seem to just be pushing a little bit at the moment. I think maybe they just need to sort of take a breath and remember, you know, that the way they were playing earlier, very calm, very able to move it around the field, and sort of perhaps not be pushing so much for some of these deeper shots, which I think it's not that they can have to rule out that option. It's just that at the moment they're not finding that connection.
I agree. And as we saw 2 points ago, turnover on their end zone line from the Czech team. First pass turnover. Iceni in a very, very good scoring position. As I was just saying, 2 points ago, Iceni found themselves in a scrap, got themselves in this position, and then played really, really clinical. I wonder if we'll see that again. So now on the disc with Hannah Brew, right on the corner of the end zone. Isolated player on the front, can't get free. Thompson looks for the reset. Off the front of the end zone. Another continuation. Far corner is free, but it's not taken. Trying to get the break shot out. Not quite there, but right in front. Is that Brew? Brew with the score.
Yeah, body to Brew for the score, I think, there. I can't see the number, but the Czech player that was just on force, I think, was doing an excellent job. Really, really taking away the options. There was an early option that came from the back of the stack to the side of the end zone, but was absolutely shut down by number 31, Korchoba, I think. Just really big pressure on the force, taking away those options, held it really well and ensured that no break was going to be had for that score.
Yeah, it made it really tricky for it. It was quite a high stall count as well to get that option out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that then just comes down to sort of Iceni's clinical and calm ability to just trust that someone's going to get free and that they're going to have a good option. But yeah, again, good defensive pressure from the Czech team. It's just really unfortunate that they've had a couple of those miscommunications and sort of, you know, maybe poorly executed options and turning it on their end zone line, of course, would have been very, very far from ideal for them. But Iceni doing well to take advantage of that and take the score to 8-4.
Indeed, yeah, so we're about just over halfway through this game. Do you see it changing from the current trajectory we're on?
I don't see it changing. I think the Czech team are going to keep hustling and working hard, but I think that there is Iceni are sort of in their zone. I mean, they're currently in their zone. In a zone. I think that they know what they're doing, and I think that they found their groove. And I think it would be incredibly hard for the Czech team.
Well, Musto's just found a great shot through the middle. It's opened it up a little bit for the Czech team, and again a fantastic shot through the middle. We've got a deep shot coming. It's sat nicely. Oh, and it's reeled in. That came almost out of nowhere.
Well, I'd love to be proven wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. So.
Stelarova with the score.
Yeah.
Shows the value, working hard, getting through the front of that zone. One pass, two pass, power position, shot deep. That's exactly how we saw them come out of that timeout. That's exactly how they want to be playing against this zone. I think they're just forcing it just a little bit on occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last few points have been holds, so that was another hold for the Czech side, which you know, I mean, they need to be scoring the points that they come out on offense, but the test will now be, are they able to get the turns and convert those? They need to get a couple. It's very possible, but I think just looking at the momentum of the teams as it currently stands, it would take a massive effort from the Czech side, but all power to them. I would love to watch it. So
I would love to watch it too.
Yeah.
It would be a fantastic turnaround. Let's hope they keep plugging away. I think they've definitely got a couple more of those offensive points in them, and I do hope they get a turn back for them. Like, it'll be really, really good for them to come together as a group, generate a turn on this Iceni team and put it in clinically. So now we're sitting at 8-5 to Iceni. Getting into the second half of this game. Iceni on offense. Waiting for the pull. The Czech pulls haven't quite been making the same sort of distance as Iceni. We'll see how we go here. But it's a good bit of roll on the disc, so it's going to give them a bit of extra yards when they roll. So that's around the brick mark. Iceni stop it and looking to move their disc. Got a bit of a loose mark on the handlers from the Czech team. First pass into the middle from Iceni, moving it quite freely. Barnes with the disc, continues forward. Thompson, got an option in the back corner of the end zone, but doesn't take it. Looks to centre the disc to Pope. Brew with the disc. Handlers being very, very dominant for Iceni. High release, 3 defenders, taken down by Iceni.
Yeah, Bailey Melvington there with the score. A very athletic player that's made her way to Iceni after playing for years for the Bristol team. But moved to London, has joined this Iceni squad, and is a massive asset for them, as she is able to make very athletic plays, not being intimidated by the fact that she's surrounded by 3 defenders. Will take that disc down for the score.
Yes, exactly what you want to see. Exactly what you want to see. Bristol and Iceni have been having a really good competition the past season, haven't they? With Bristol taking it.
Yeah, it's great to watch. I think it's really exciting to see such competitive ultimate, particularly, I mean, in Europe, obviously, in general, as we're seeing this weekend, but also within the UK. For many years, Iceni was sort of quite dominant, and it's really wonderful to see programs like Bristol really creating such a depth and talented team to be able to challenge that, and as we've seen in the last couple of nationals, to come away with it. And those teams are going to be at the London Invite tournament at the end of June, which people are encouraged to engage with and go and see. There are tickets to go and see it in person if you're interested, online, and that will be a great showdown of those teams and some of the other European women's and open teams in another great tournament.
Agreed. So Czech now with the disc. Musto moving the disc around. Iceni haven't really changed their offense a huge amount, poaching slightly on some of the deep receivers. The Czech team getting a little bit clustered now, not quite able to find that fluid movement through the middle. Musto really driving this offense for the Czech team. Looks to go over the top, a bit windy, but taken down. By 13, I don't have a name, I'm afraid. Oh, a tip from the Iceni team, but still wheeled in by 42. Looks deep and takes it. As I was saying, that they weren't getting through, they got through.
Yeah, as soon as we say it, it immediately becomes not true. Yeah, great play. Really, I think what we're seeing from the Czech side is like they're not afraid to get a little bit scrappy. You know, like those discs going up, maybe someone's getting a touch on it, and they're still going to fight for it. They're still going to try and get it. We saw a couple great sort of extension snags there, and then just the kind of the confidence to put that out in front in the end zone. Really nice play, and I do think it speaks to the kind of the confidence and the skills that they know that they have on this Czech side, which is great, and it's what we need if they want to kind of make a comeback in this game.
Exactly. Well, it's not the size of the squad in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the squad, isn't it?
Oh yes.
So that's for number 12, Korova. That's 3 scores, almost on the bounce. She's being a really, really important receiver for the Czech team at the moment.
Yeah, looking at the stats, I think we are actually seeing on both teams that they're sort of concentrated upon a few players in particular, which I think might also be virtue of some of these defensive looks where we've seen a lot of movement through the handlers, and it's sort of been a little bit more handler generated. But it is interesting to note that we sort of have a few players who are noting quite highly on the stats, and they're not maybe as spread across the teams as you might have expected.
Not as spread as we've seen in some other games so far. So Iceni, a short pull again, starting on the sideline. Up the line, but looks to centre. Oh, high disc, caught by the wind, generates a turn. That's a bit of pressure on the receiver. Good work for the Czech team. See what they can do with this. They're in a good position on the opposition brick mark.
Yeah, Brugge just not able to get up and bring that one down. So the Czech team now got with a short field, looking for the score.
Oh, a miscommunication. Thompson doesn't stop. Oh, but calls a timeout.
Timeout called. I think that's an excellent decision from Becky Thompson. Just to get the team to reset. There's been, like as we've noted in the last few points, there's been some turns and yeah, just looking to refocus and make sure that Iceni are sort of probably looking to close this game out fairly decisively. And obviously the Czech team will now be having a discussion about how to stop them from doing that.
Yeah, that's a shame. A bit of miscommunication from the receiver. She didn't feel she was free. Handler may have felt she was free, but it's a shame. But I think you're right. When Iceni have calmed down and played clinical frisbee, they're looking really, really strong. Just sometimes I think they're getting drawn into that scrappy Czech style.
Yeah, maybe being a little trigger happy on a few options, but they will refocus and I think they'll come up very strongly. So hopefully the Czech team will be able to put on a strong defensive force now and see if they can get a turn before Iceni get to the end zone.
Exactly. It feels like they need to really, really shut down that handler movement. Maybe switch some marks around at the moment and really force them to work hard and not have anything easily.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the challenge is that you can sort of on this squad, this Iceni squad, you can shut down the handlers, but you know it's the cutters are also very formidable. There's no clear weak link to exploit. So it really is just a case of making sure that every single person on the field is hustling to try and take away their options and just to do their job on defense.
Yeah, we've got quite an exciting set from Iceni here. Looks like we've got a bit of a split stack with 3 handlers, or 2 handlers and 3 receivers on this side. Czech team just having a moment, deciding how they're going to approach this defense. Some not quite sure. Got some confused faces going on. We are switching the mark on the handler. I think that's probably quite a wise move.
I think they're just sort of trying to make sure they have the right matchups for the different types of players. And Iceni here obviously setting up with a lot of space in the middle to attack and a lot of space deep to attack.
Yeah, we do have some Czech players sitting off deep, but they've not really pushed it that far. Looking for the shot into the middle. Iceni moving quite freely now. That offensive set has given them lots and lots of space to work with. This goes up to Thompson, who managed to reel it in. Falls a bit shorter than she expected. Was looking towards the end zone, but is happy to reset the disc. Thompson now with the disc back in her hands. Handlers working very well together from Iceni. Almost in the end zone. Not quite, setting right at the front for Ellis. Ellis goes back. Corner and score.
Yeah, Von Kraken there with the score. Lovely movement from Iceni, very decisive play. I think he really saw the movement off of that setup, that offensive setup. They created that space in the middle by splitting their stack and putting it in two parts on each sideline. And then just attacked the middle. And I think the first cuts did come off. They cycled through, the next cuts came in. And yeah, they're just very, very comfortable to keep that moving, hold on to the disc until they know that someone is free and they trust that someone's going to get free, and as we've seen in that point, they do.
Yeah, it's quite an exciting thing, quite an exciting offensive set to throw from a timeout in the middle of the game.
Definitely. I think Iceni are certainly here to, I mean, as we've said, all of the teams are here to learn and to experience different challenges and figure out what they can do to address them and to overcome them. This is the first tournament of the season for both these teams. Iceni are going to be looking to test some of these, whether it's sort of an offensive play or a defensive look. All of those things are great to pull out at this stage and test them against different teams, see where their strengths lie, see what adjustments need to be made, so that as they move through the season, whether that's at the World Championships, which we know Iceni are heading towards, or even at Nationals, which I think for Iceni is still the focus of their season. They want to make sure that those things are sorted and strong.
Yeah, I'd agree. A good Iceni pull again, the Czech team working. They managed to get the disc through the middle quite happily. Musto with a big old disc. It may have gone a little bit too far though, maybe forcing that one a little bit.
Yeah, there was definitely an Iceni defender deeper of the Czech player there, so I don't think that was the option that really they should have been taking at that stage. There wasn't any separation, and the offensive player was going to have to somehow get around the Iceni player who had a few steps on them to get that pass. So not the option that they really should have taken at that stage, I think.
So Iceni now with the disc, flight with the disc in the middle of the pitch. Gains some yards, bit of confusion from the receivers, but it goes to hand. Ooh, possibly a call, possibly a point block. Nothing's been called.
Yeah, I think that was
a good
clean
point block from 42 on the Czech team.
And interestingly enough, I believe 42 is the playing coach who was roped into playing to offset some of the injuries. So an excellent
show him what to do.
Yeah.
Show him what to do. Disc goes through the middle, back into the coach's hand. The Czech team moving quite fluidly. Shot into the middle. Reeled in by Lakowska.
Great play, really decisive play by the Czech team there.
Yeah, really good capitalising on that turn.
42 who isn't on our roster, and I believe that is because roped in at the last minute, but very important for that score.
Yeah, she has been a quite important part for the squad.
Absolutely.
Disc through her hands a lot. The Czech team seem to be playing through a few of their players more, but that worked for them quite well. So now the scoreline, 10-8 to Iceni. So it is 2 points. Like they are slowly creeping. That was a turn. That was a break. That was their break.
That was a break, yeah. I think like massive credit to the Czech team. They're not letting them get away, you know. And we sort of spoke earlier about the grit and determination and the mindset that you need to be able to keep your head down and really grind these challenging games out, these close games out. You know, Iceni got a few points ahead, and the Czech team are not going to let them get any further than that, and are going to give it everything they've got to try and recover some of that ground. So. Yeah. I think they're playing excellently. You know, we're seeing some errors from both teams, and when it works, it really works. You know, and we're seeing that in the scoreline.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, when they get in they get that groove, they get the handle movement, they find their power position. They're deep shots. They're coming off more often than not. So another shorter pull from the Czech team. Iceni letting it roll. Bit cheeky there from Brugge.
Brugge is a bit cheeky, Hannah Brugge.
Now, Iceni in a fantastic position after just 2 passes. Looking to the end zone already. Sees some space. Over the shoulder. Reeled in quite happily by Pope. They're not too nice to take it. I always hate it when they come in over the shoulder. Yeah,
I think that wasn't the intended play there, but Cat Pope coming down with the score regardless. And throwing her arms up in the air in what's kind of become a little bit of like a signature celebration for her. Check her Instagram for more details. But yeah, she'll be very happy to have got on the stats as a scorer, as she's usually found in the handler position.
Exactly. Well, the stats don't show how messy it was, so a point's a point.
So you know, just the history will show that she scored, and that's all that it will remember. So that's great.
That's a bit of a shame for the Czech team, though. That might have hurt a little bit. Coming off a big break to have their offensive point put in that quickly. 3 passes, I think. That might hurt a bit.
Yeah, probably, but it happens. You know, it's not the first time in this game or in this tournament that will occur. And the Czech team have already proven that their mental fortitude to be able to respond to that sort of challenge is strong. So hopefully they're able to shake off any disappointment they feel from that point and come out strong now on offense.
Yeah, we'll see what this offensive line do. Looks like the Czech team are ready. Iceni just finishing up calling their line. Ready for the pull. Pulls have been quite good, as we've been saying. Big backhand. Looks like it's going to sit and float a little bit, so Iceni are going to have time to really try and set their defense. Looks like we've come down in a more conventional zone with a cup for Iceni. Czech player forced to try and toe that in, can't quite take it to hand.
That was unfortunate. I think she was just thinking about where her feet was, which is very valid. She needed to make sure that she was in bounds and then just wasn't able to also kind of secure the catch while doing that. Very unfortunate.
Iceni now with a disc. Oh, really quite tasty inside break. Oh, but can't quite reel it in. That did start falling away from her. Needs a bit more eye on that, but that looked pretty tasty.
Yeah, Dalma making a big effort there, and Iceni immediately getting the turn back. Hamer making sure that one went to ground and got the turn.
Yeah, a bit rushed of a throw from the Czech team. Forced it through the middle. Receiver wasn't quite ready or expecting it. Iceni now, again, in a good scoring position. Up the line. Oh, really some good match marking there.
Yeah, really good match marking from the coach. 42 again, really tight from the coach. Really tight, and just making sure that throwing window was so small that that slight missed throw, the kind of not nailing that throw, meant that was going to be a turn.
Oh, does she get it in? I think her hand went down on the cone, but everyone's calling it in.
Sideline is calling it in, and that was an excellent play to keep that disc alive.
This is how you do it, girls. I think we've got a call somewhere on the pitch. I think we may... I'd be surprised if we're still debating the in call. Everyone's called it in already.
Yeah, I think maybe that's just a question of clarifying for the people on the field. But the disc has been called in, and it will stay with the Czech team after that excellent play by number 42.
Yeah, it's a bit... Oh, goes straight for the huck. Can we reel it in? Goes a little bit too far. I was just about to say that's a really tricky position to start from a static start.
It is, and I mean, it didn't come off. I wish it had come off, but I really love the confidence of that look. And it was a beautiful throw. Just maybe like half a second later or 1 second later, and I think that would have been an amazing option.
Or maybe a slightly stiller day.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if that was the wind. I'm not sure we can blame the wind for everything.
Iceni now with the disc in front of their own end zone, moving quite fluidly through their handlers. Kwok with the disc now, swings it again. Czech team really bringing some gusto to this. Misto with a close work on the D. Can't quite get through, but gets a point. Block. Oh, but a fantastic bid to keep the disc alive. Disc is still in Iceni's hands.
Enormous play by Karen Kwok there. Yeah, massive.
Massive full extension layout and changing direction as well. Disc goes deep. Receiver doesn't quite see it. Oh, but under a lot of pressure, still reels it in.
Able to adjust, able to realise that she's not. And then the excitement comes, yeah.
Great spirit though, to check the Czech players okay first. It was a fantastic bid from her. Yeah,
great spirit just to hold off for one beat, just to make sure that, you know, you're not cheering over someone who's grievously injured. No, that was an excellent play by Iceni there. Huge save by Karen Kwok. And then again, just keeping calm, receiving the disc back, and actually it was Kwok who then puts it in the end zone for the score. And the receiver really able to adjust. I think she didn't realise that this was coming to her until quite late.
Yeah, Ellis, I think.
Ellis, yeah. Ellis able to recognise that this was coming to her, adjust, and make sure she got positioned, despite the fact that there was a Czech defender putting as much pressure on as possible. So really great point for Iceni there.
Yeah, indeed. So that makes it 12-7 to Iceni. We're starting to get into the back end of this game. We've only got just over 5 minutes left. Let's see what the Czech team can do on offense. Iceni taking a little bit of their time to move off the line. Is the Czech team ready? Do you think we're going to see that zone again? We've been seeing quite a split defense so far, with match upfield and a sag on the handlers, but that was a conventional zone from Iceni.
Yeah, I think Iceni are just trying to move through their different looks. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another zone from them, and I wouldn't be surprised if they switch it up again. You know, I think they're just trying to make sure they get the reps in to test it out. And I believe from the way that they're running, we're going to see the zone again. Yeah,
that was another really good pull from Iceni. Sat for a very long time.
I think it was just person. I think it's just person, and that was very effective.
Is that hand block?
That was immediate hand block, I think, by Phi Kwan. Yeah.
Well, very strong work. Flight moving up to the disc now. Got a couple of options, but looking for a reset to make something happen. Takes the inside shot. Very nice. Kwan with the disc. No options in the end zone. Off the front though. Looking to try and get it in the corner for Brugge. Looks back to Flight. Back to Kwan. No options really coming easily in the end zone. On the front, but not taken. Looks to swing onto the break side. Takes the inside shot. Very nice.
Yeah, very patient. I think you saw some people cutting up the line, looking for the options, and I think the thrower was just looking at that, thinking that's a little bit too narrow, that's a little bit too tight. I've seen you looking for that high percentage passes.
Yeah, well, you can swing it. You can wait for that 95, 100%er.
That's exactly it. They're not seeking to kind of force it in and potentially risk a turnover. Happy to look those off. You know, if they're not feeling it and they know someone will come back, they'll swing and then they'll find a really nice open player, as we just saw.
Very strong work and good D. So they came down match, hand block really quickly.
Yeah.
Very good effort.
Yeah, and I think that is challenging for the Czech team. It's again about hitting this grind and just making sure that they're able to brush that off and come out and attack this offensive point as a new offensive point, and theirs for the taking if they so choose. So, yeah, quite a definitive defensive effort there by Iceni. Again, mixing it up. We were expecting maybe a zone, and they came out in person. So just keeping everyone on their toes.
I think that's exactly how you should play, D. Like, keep changing it up. Don't let anyone settle into an offense. They got quite happy against their sagging handler marks. So change it up, make them do something different.
Actually, I sort of spoke to some of the captains, Becky Thompson and Kat Pope, before the game, and one of the things they said was expect the unexpected. And I'm not sure if that's sort of a warning to other teams or if that's like their attitude as they come into this tournament, but either way I think it stands.
Either way, it's a strong message.
Keep them guessing.
So Czech team now with the disc. Moving forward into the middle of the pitch. Rover with the disc. Tries to dish it back off, but can't quite make the completion.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure why that one didn't complete, actually. The disc sort of seemed to be just in front of her, and I don't know if she just misread it or was a bit too casual, but yeah, an unfortunate error.
Tired legs and tired heads. It may have come off earlier in the game, but people weren't quite where you expected them. Iceni already made lots of yards with two quite impressive up the line off the line receivers. Back into the... Oh, handler a little bit isolated now. Takes a nice shot into the middle. Oh, good take by Thompson. Make sure of that one going to ground. Taking the calm. Inside shot onto the break. Moving quite freely now on the break side. Inside again. Oh, a little bit, not quite far enough. Maybe force that one a touch.
Yeah, a little bit. I think that inside shot is really hard. It has to come really early, otherwise that window is closed and gone. And I think the challenge also there is Ellie Taylor being the receiver. Ellie Taylor is known to be one of the fastest women in UK Ultimate.
So you're going to really have to put it out onto that break side.
Yeah, if you don't hit her immediately, she's going to be gone. So yeah, just a little bit of a challenge there.
Ooh, really good defense there from Iceni, almost getting the block. Czech now with the disc on the far sideline. Moving up the sideline now. Not many options coming from them upfield. Tried to get the handler reset off, not quite on. Big D from Dalman. Iceni now again. Position they've been quite a lot in this game. Static start on the Czech end zone line. We've been seeing quite fluid open play in this situation, less set calls from Iceni. But there we go, ISO off the front, stutter step onto the break side, nice and free open.
It's the fundamentals. I think the teams are going to have set plays, they're going to have calls, they're going to have, you know, specific plays off the pool that they want to use at different times. But fundamentally, what they want to be doing at this sort of tournament, at this point of the season, is just making sure that, you know, they know how to play together, that they're all on the same page, and that they have that team cohesion. And I think the way to do that is just to play the fundamentals, not necessarily trying to do anything fancy, although of course we've seen them try a few different looks, but plays like that are just showing that this is a team of people. Every single person on that line in a Iceni kit knows what they're doing, can execute it to the highest standard, is going to keep going, keep running, keep pushing, and the quality, you know, throughout the course of the game is not going to diminish. They're going to keep going with the same level of intensity and attention to detail in the last point as they did in the first. And I think, you know, when you see plays like that, you see that demonstrated really well, and that's a testament to how hard they work and how much they train.
Indeed, and they are a group that train really hard, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of hours in the gym and a lot of hours on the field and a lot of hours at the track put in by these guys in white, for sure.
So, Iceni again with the pull. And that's our time call. So this will be the final point. 14-7 to Iceni. So the Czechs with one last opportunity to have an impact on this scoreline. Iceni playing through their saggy handler marks. The Czech team moving quite happily through so far, though. Match has been called for Iceni. Just try and stifle that movement. The Czech coach now with the disc, looking to swing up the line maybe. Gets the continuation in a power position. Does she? But she doesn't put it. Good cover from the Iceni mark. Musto now with the disc in the center of the pitch. Tries to find. Oh, gets the break. Leads the break out for the receiver. That's a good bit of communication and teamwork.
Vavarova doing well to move into the space there and to pick that one up.
Back to the coach again. Onto the open side. Sits a little bit, but they reel it in. Pretty strong way to end that game.
Yeah, Tarajika doing well there to get free and to make sure that despite that being the end of the game, that the Czech team finished on a high, which I think they really deserved. The scoreline ended up being quite a decisive win for Iceni, but I really think that the Czech team gave a huge amount to that game, and I think it was a real testament to their grit and determination that they kept pushing all the way to the end, and that we were seeing such great play from them throughout.
I'd agree. Well, that's the end of us here. Next game we have is Cusp versus Groot Open on this pitch. I've been Michael Paul.
I've been Rachel Douglas.
And thank you very much.
Thank you.